Today we shall be learning about writing a career episode, which is actually a very important part of competency demonstration report. You need a career episode as an engineer or engineer manager or engineer associate to apply in Australia as an engineer. So what are career episodes? These are actually the accounts of engineering work or experience. Every career episode focuses on specific periods or distinct aspects of engineering activity. It also focuses on your reach and how you applied your engineering knowledge and skill. It also deals about problems and tackles faced during the project and how you went on to solve them. This is a documented form which assesses your personal contribution in meeting a certain project objectives. So there are certain ways to write a career episode, and we are basically going to talk about writing an engineer's career episode, typically for a mechanical engineer. For that, you need to know about format of career episode. So basically, you need to consider that you need to use a proper English language. The language might be British as it resembles to the Australian English, and the word count of the total career episode must be in between 1500 to 2500. Another important aspect is that the engineering skills used during the projects must be clearly illustrated in the career episode. The whole career episode must be written in first person, that is, I, me, and mine, rather than we, us, and I, as it is reflecting your personal contribution to the project. The primary focus must be given to the engineering methods which you have used in order to solve the problems. And every paragraph must be numbered in every career episode. You need to write 3 career episodes, and the same format goes for all of them. And another important thing is that you cannot use tables. You need to write the whole career episode in essay form. So moving towards the sections in a career episode. So we have basically 4 sections, which are introduction, background, personal engineering activities, and the summary. The introduction of a career episode is generally comprised of 100 words. Chronology must be maintained, which includes the dates and events. Geographical location and the name of organization must also be stated in the introductory part of the career episode. Here we can see a career episode, and we can see the introductory part of the career episode. We can see the duration of the project, which is stating the start to end date, the name of the project, which is returned as analyzing the nature of AC evaporated by optimization of parameters. The location is Kathmandu, organization name, and the position of the person. For now, it is engineer, and it is written as mechanical engineer. Moving towards the next portion is the background. The word count for background portion must be in between 200 to 500 words. It comprises of the nature of overall engineering project as a whole, objectives of the project, and converging into the particular work area of that project, the organizational structure, which highlights your position in relation to the career episode, and a statement of your future. In this background portion, we can see that it is being talked about the air conditioner, the component of air conditioner, and the associated functions of the air conditioners. And we can see it talks about components such as compressor, evaporator, and heat pumps alongside the associated works of them. It also talks about heat transfer through the evaporator in the second paragraph, which is actually converging towards the project, and the materials used in the construction of evaporators, material specific conditions. It also talks about computational fluid dynamics, so that we are converging towards evaporator from a particularly bigger topic of air conditioning systems and air conditioners. We then proceed towards objectives. The objectives of the project was optimizing the heat transfer. We need to stick only with the particular words used. The use of excess words can turn the career episode quite lengthy, and it is not quite likely to write longer career episodes by using twisted words and mistaken words. That the writer was involved in technical and managerial duties of overall project. He was also involved in designing of AC evaporator. He also carried out the software analysis in Creo and simulated in ANSYS. He also briefly talks about problems in difficult and solving the problem. Further, the career episode consists of organizational flow diagram, in which we come from university or the workplace name at the top, since it is the biggest of your organizational hierarchy. Then it come towards your department, name of your department is written there, which is followed by the head of the department, your project supervisor, and your name as a team leader, and your members as the team members. We then proceed toward the work processes involved in CE 1.2.6, and we write about the tasks we had done in bullets, which shall be talked about further in the personal engineering activities section. It consists of 500 to 1000 words. It is the main narrative of the overall career episode. It consists of detailed description of the project, and with every minute detail you can provide from your side. The portion mainly deals about what you did in the project and how you did it, and it requires an own clear role identification of how you applied your engineering knowledge and skills, the tasks delegated to you, and how you went on to solve them, the technical difficulties and problems arising, the creative work done by you, which means the strategies devised by you, including any original or creative design work, how you worked with other team members, and etc. So, in the personal engineering activities section, we started the project by initiating with the study of terminologies associated with the HVAC system, components, and their roles. Also studied about general aspects of air conditioning, which means that the writer conducted literature studies, went on to design the manifold, piping manifold for the evaporator system. In the second paragraph, the writer talks about the design considerations he took, and talks about the input parameters he put in designing the piping manifold. Also equip your career episode with designs as such, which in the figure is showing the 2D and 3D designs of the piping manifold, which are designed in the Creo, and the imported and meshed model in the ANSYS, which is being taught. It talks about the loaded model for the workbench, It also talks about various components such as density, specific heat, conductivity, and the viscosity parameters which were extracted from the ASRE and the ISRE standards. And it also talks about that the writer used the values of acceleration in XYZ direction. Means you have to do whatever you actually did inside of that software. Every tiny details can prove quite good in here. So in 1.3.4 and 1.3.5 we can see that the writer has equipped the career episode with various numerical values of mass flow rates, nodes and elements in the ANSYS, and volume fractions. And he also talks about analyzing and tabulating the values of the R30 and R160 refrigerants, which means that he is inputting each and every detail that he performed during his project. And you can look that none second person sentence has been used. Every sentence in there has been started with I did, I found out, everything. And in the next portions, the writer is talking about problems that he encountered about while doing the project in the ANSYS PR Fluent. He found out that the velocities corresponding to the mass flow rates throughout the pipe, which caused a lesser amount of heat transfer to the ambience. And he also talked about consultation with the supervisor and introduced the no-slip conditions to avoid the problem. That was an engineer's skill and technique he used to solve the problem arose. And he also talks about another problem in the next paragraph, that is 1.3.7, in which he talks about putting the distance between the manifold pipes is 20 mm, but which could not provided him the results he was seeking, that is optimized heat transfer, which is the general work of evaporator. And he then went on to change heat and trial methods, which we generally do while designing and simulating. And he went on to put the value as 1 inch, which translates to 25.4 mm. And he says that the effective analysis was obtained. In the next paragraph, he talks about consulting the ASRE standard. The results did not match the real-time scenario of India, and he proceeded on to use the ISRE standards, which is a creative approach for solving the problems. In the section 1.3.8, he talks about handling the project technically and managerially by solving and addressing the problems by consultation with the supervisor, and also instructing fellow colleagues for carrying out detailed study. He also carried out documentation and presentation of the project. In the CE 1.3.9, he talks about the codes and regulations. He followed the ASFRE and the ISRE guidelines for obtaining the values of the constant parameters such as the inlet temperature, pressure, specific volume, enthalpy, entropy of refrigerants in the local conditions. And at the last, he went on to summarize the whole career episode. He found out the effectiveness of the project in the fields of HVAC by understanding the several components. He also learned about computational fluid dynamics. He learned to analyze the models, and He developed an understanding about the role of the evaporator, and he also found out the optimal solution for using the certain mass flow rates, which was generally the objective of the project. You can also use the simulated designs in the project, but you have to make sure that you don't overload your career episode, and the results obtained, if and only if you can explain them. Certain reasons which might cause in rejection of your CDR, which is the use of non-technical language or informal language in your career episode. As we already discussed, the use of British English is quite proper than the use of American English, as it resembles more with the Australian English. The inclusion of unnecessary diagrams. If you include any diagram, make sure that it is being developed by you during the project, and you are assured that you can explain them. Otherwise, then it shall work as a primary factor for the rejection. And as we had previously talked about that, write the whole career episode in essay form rather than bullets and tables. Be sure not to use more of them. And you don't want to be exceeding the word limit, as writing lengthy career episode is quite hectic for the writer as well as the reader. So make sure that you follow the MSA booklet or the word count we have suggested. Make sure you proofread your career episode and the CDR as a whole before submitting, as they can be equipped with many grammatical and other errors. Make sure you also conduct a plagiarism check before sending it to the authority, because plagiarism is the most vital cause for rejection. And if you also do not use the proper course and regulations which you use during the project, then it might turn in your back. So until next time, so thank you.